Now, I know that a lot of Ellen mains are going to see the title and try to attack me, but little do they know, I want the smoke, so bring it! Welcome to my channel. My name is Kit to the 7th, and I'll be your host today. Now, it is no secret that Ellen is going to be the best attack DPS in the game upon release, and she is also going to be part of one of the, if not the strongest team in the game, with Vaughn and Sokaku. This ice team is going to do incredible damage, have amazing crowd control, good AoE, ability to stun enemies well, and also have plenty of buffs as well. So in terms of power, Ellen is going to be absolutely top tier when the game releases on July 4th. But power is not everything. Power does not equal value. Now with this topic, I will go a little bit more detail into a future video, but to sum it up, just because Ellen is going to be powerful doesn't mean she is valuable in the long run. I believe she's going to be an excellent top tier unit, but if we are looking at long-term value, she might not be the best. And the simple reason is because Ellen is just a DPS. Now, she does have incredible mobility. So against bosses that are extremely aggressive, bosses that move around the map at high speeds, her mobility is going to be invaluable in chasing them down and also dodging attacks. But other than her mobility, she's just a damage dealer. And when it comes to hoyoverse games, damage dealers are always the first ones to be power crept. Especially the first one, and she unfortunately is the first S-rank attack DPS in the game. So this means her long-term value is just not quite there. She will eventually be power crept within the coming months, and there's nothing anyone can do about it. So because of this, I don't think her long-term value is that high, but I do believe in Ellen's short-term value. But why is that? Well, pulling the strongest DPS in the game on day one is going to allow you to get through content much easier than not having her. It's going to also give the ability to make a freeze team, and freeze is going to be very powerful at the early stages of the game, making it even more comfortable to clear the game's content. Her short-term value is extremely high. Her long-term value, well, that one's up in the air. Her long-term value can vary. She will be power crept. Again, there's nothing we can do about this, but we don't know the extent of power creep that is going to come to zzzero as of yet. So it could be a situation where yes, she will be power crept, but she won't be so far behind that the new units completely outshine her. Or it could be a Honkai Star Rail situation where Sela versus Akira. Oh yeah, that one's rough. But as of right now, we do not know. So this means her long-term value could be middle of the road or extremely low. Only time will tell. But at the end of the day, her long-term value will still not be that high. The only way Ellen Joe's long-term value can stay relevant is if they make content where freeze is favorable for an extended period of time. And I don't trust hoyoverse to do this. And why? Well, let's look at an infamous game called Genshin Impact. Now, for those who haven't ever played Genshin, you may not know, but Ganyu and Ayaka, towards the beginning of the game's life, they were considered two of the strongest DPS in the game. They were considered able to just wipe the floor with content with ease. Ganyu with her infamous Morgana team, being able to use Venti, group them up, use her burst, and just rain down cryo hell upon enemies. And Ayaka, being able to freeze, allowed her to use her burst, which shredded anything it touched, so long as the enemy stayed in place. Well, hoyoverse got tired of this, and they started making freeze significantly worse. How did they do that? They started adding much more boss enemies, and boss enemies could not be frozen. And they also started adding normal enemies that had freeze resistance, meaning even if you did freeze them, they only stayed frozen for a split second, making it extremely inconsistent. I don't believe Hoyoverse wants Freeze to be strong for a long period of time. Now, zzzero developers could prove me wrong. They could make Freeze extremely powerful for a very long time. But knowing Hoyo's track record, I don't know if they're going to do that. So, in my eyes right now, I don't see Ellen as a very valuable unit for the long term. But I do see her as an amazing unit for the short term. I believe she will make everyone's life significantly easier from the early game to the mid and even the start of the end game. So, is pulling Ellen Joe a bad idea? No, I do not believe so. Even I would be pulling for Ellen Joe on day one. But is pulling Ellen Joe and expecting her to be your premier ice DPS for a long period of time? Now, I'm sure dedicated Ellen mains will be able to find a way to make it work. But for the average player, I just don't think Ellen will be your premier ice DPS for a long time. I do believe she will eventually be replaced, and there's nothing wrong with that. This is a gacha game. We're supposed to be pulling for new characters. The only way you could probably keep her value high long term is pulling for dupes. But I really do not recommend pulling for dupes in a gacha game, especially one such as zzzero. And I will also be making another video on this topic as well. But if you are a true dedicated Ellen main, love Ellen, you want to use her for a long time, I recommend you pull her as early as possible. I recommend save your 5-star standard selector for Vaughn. You will get Sokaku for free, and you will have a strong ice team that can last you for months until new characters come out. And if you really and truly love Ellen, you want to push her to the max, I don't recommend getting dupes. I recommend getting her weapon. Getting the weapon is significantly easier than it is trying to get dupes. And Ellen's weapon just so happens to be pretty damn good. So my overall opinion on Ellen Joe, she is an extremely strong ice attack DPS. She will serve you very, very well in the early to mid game, even the beginning of end game. She will serve you perfectly fine. If you really love her, recommend getting her weapon and trying your best to get Vaughn. And if you really want to push her to the max, I would be careful with your wishes and be on the lookout for potential teammates to come in the future that could potentially replace either Sokaku or Vaughn, make your team even stronger. But if you only wanted to pull Ellen because you think she's a strong character and she can last you for a long time, I would ask of you to wait. You have 3 weeks until she disappears, starting July 4th, meaning you have ample amount of time to go on YouTube, Twitter, Reddit, Twitch, any other social media platform, watch other people who have Ellen, see how she's performing, really see her gameplay to see if it's something for you, and make sure that you're actually going to enjoy using her. Because it would be a shame if you wasted your pulls on Ellen just because you thought she was strong. Strength is not everything in a gacha game. You have to also enjoy the character. So many people have learned this the hard way, and I really, really hope it doesn't happen to anyone who watches this video. Make sure you really love Ellen before you pull for her, and make sure you're using your pulls wisely so you can get all your favorite characters. Because the more characters you have that you enjoy, the longer you'll want to play the game. And with that, that's going to conclude today's content. Check me out on Twitter if you haven't already at Keta7th. Join the Discord with our ever-growing community. And be sure to subscribe if you liked today's video. And as always, my name is Keta7th. With that, I'm signing out.